Very often on guitar we strum, but flamenco playing, when they strum, they have a whole very highly developed system with the right hand, which is not classical, but it has some things in common. Most of their rhythmical chords, not all, begin with the thumb and its nail on what we call the upstroke. The result is that you start with the highest note. And it gives a much crisper, more rhythmical attack. So instead of going, you have... However, there are lots of areas in between the two extremes where you can still get some of the character of sound. And I often go, when I'm in slight doubt, I go to a very old friend of mine, which is lucky for me, Paco Peña, the great musician, he's a great flamenco guitarist. And he lives down the road from me. And it's really good for me. I mean, I often do this, whether it's a social evening or just 10 minutes because I've dropped by for a cup of tea. It needn't be a specific lesson as such, but I just say, hey, you know, I'm practicing this piece again, is this right? One I'm doing at the moment is Sevilla. This is a piece by Albéniz. I've played it for 30 or 40 years. And the thing that's always worried me is the difference between, let's say, the classical approach, which I'd learnt from Segovia and everyone plays in that way, and the fact that it is a dance, the Sevillanas. So it's that bridge from playing... That would be, if you like, a nice, tuneful, classical way of playing it. But it is a dance, and I don't know, you couldn't possibly dance to this, could you? And then, which is awful. Yeah. So, but one of the practical problems, as I asked about, and this is where I've refingered it, coming back to what I was asking before, is getting back up to the chord here after you do. It's very important to me in these occasions to try and get some of the feel of the authentic dance. So in a case like that, I will go to Paco and I say, what should I do? And he'll say, well, you want to keep the dance going like X, Y, Z. And so I'll start refingering the strumming. So I'll be going something like... Do you think that works? So, but you've got to keep, because this is the rhythm, isn't it? So, keeping it in that rhythm.
Absolutely. I like that.
That's the C minor one, yeah. That's what classical composers do, is to change key unnecessarily.
For me, for a flamenco player, rhythm is fundamental.
Just do those few bars at the beginning, because I can really...
Funnily enough, I find a lot of classical guitarists playing Spanish music, even Spanish classical guitarists, they take a lot of liberties with expressing with the rhythm in a way that is it's sort of artificially romantic, you know, I find. But I find John particularly good at that, at keeping the rhythm alive and unstoppable, you know, like it rules. So I identify very much with his interpretation of a lot of Spanish music. I think he's probably the best I can think of, really, in the classical guitar.